Hey guys, and welcome back. If you're an old subscriber and if you're a newbie, welcome to my channel. My name is Marilyn. Did you guys just hear that? I'm sorry. Today I'll be doing a foundation first impression review and demo, and the foundation I chose to work with today is foundation and setting powder from the brand Luron. The first things for my kit are an all over face powder and a contour powder were from this brand Luron. So I do have a semblance on how the powder does work, but to be honest, I have never ever tried the foundation. I got this in the shade Super Tan and I got this in the shade Tawny Beige. Compact powder, when you open it up, it has this sponge and a protective paper, and this is the shade I got mine in. This looks like it's going to be closer to my actual skin shade. The other day I was at
1 hour later.
I forget the store name, but I did do a haul. I saw these two on the display. I believe this was around 100 shillings and this was also like 100 shillings, 110 or 120. It's pretty inexpensive, and I do know for a lot of people starting out, the makeup kits and the makeup journeys in general tend to go for the inexpensive things just so you can practice and know your face, and then the more you're comfortable with your face, the more you upgrade. Or some people just go straight for the expensive things, but not a lot of people can afford to get foundation that's 5,000 shillings. And I saw this and I'm like, why don't I try this out and let you guys know my thoughts on this foundation, especially since it's readily available everywhere. So as I was googling to find information about this foundation, I just discovered that Luron is actually a Kenyan brand. I didn't know that. Honest to God, thought that this was from China or Japan. I didn't know it was Kenyan. I feel hella blonde. And considering how long this has been on the market, kudos for them for like being pioneers in Kenyan makeup. So cool. This is a light creamy moisturizing foundation rich in jojoba, almond and silicone oils. Oof. For long lasting wear, contains sunscreen to help protect the skin whilst giving it smooth silky finish with fresh natural glow. These are the instructions they give you for how to apply the foundation. Dot over the face with an applicator and smooth with fingertips. I did check on the website and I do see they do have a couple of other makeup things. Well, not really a couple. They have a brow pencil, they also have a cocoa gel pencil, and they also have an eyeliner. This foundation comes in 6 shades and this compact powder comes in 10 shades. So sorry about the noise. Next I'll be priming my face with this, and this is the Rimmel Stay Matte Primer. I do see that they recommend that you use your fingertips and then smear it all over the face with your hands. I hate the idea of that, but I'm going to do that. This side of my face I'm going to use my hands, this side I'm going to use a blender. Doe foot applicator. You guys can see? No, you can't. The primer has set in, so I'm going to go in with my orange corrector from Illegal and correct my dark circles, places where I have dark spots. I am breaking out, blending that out. Right off the bat, I can tell that the undertone is way off. I think they need to make foundations with better undertones for dark skin. This side is done and I'm going to go in with my hand like they recommended and just, oh my god. I can tell that it dries up pretty fast. And also blending it in with my hand wasn't as bad as I thought. I'm going to repeat the same exact steps, but I'm going to blend it in with a blender. This is what it looks like when it's first applied, and then white, and then it's not. Going in with my Real Techniques blender and just pressing it into the skin. The coverage isn't so bad. It does cover quite a significant amount. I'm just going to go back in the places I feel like I need. You can use your hands to blend. You can see it still looks fine, but I just prefer using my blender. I don't know if you guys can see this part here. For some reason, when I layered it up, it moved a bit. Let me try to see. Go ahead and highlight and contour, and I will be using Illegal Concealer in Fawn. Next, I'm going to go in with Espresso. Next, I'm going to go in with this powder, and it is in tawny beige. So I'm just going to set the entire face with this powder. I'm not going to use setting powder or anything. This is what the powder and the foundation look like together. I think it looks really decent. Despite how it started out, I feel like it came together. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of my face. Hey guys, so I'm back, and I did realize that I forgot to tell you guys what time I left. Okay, I didn't leave and go anywhere. I just put my camera off and went about editing and doing other things in the house. I realized the experiment of how the foundation would perform, it's kind of flawed in that since I'm not doing anything strenuous and the foundation is not exposed to the elements of like the sun, wind, rain, things like that, I just decided to cut my staying time short. I did stop filming around 6:15, 6:30 there. Right now it is 8:31, so 2 hours of me wearing the foundation. I think I'm just going to wind down the video right now and tell you guys my thoughts on the foundation, and I keep forgetting about this powder, the foundation and this powder thus far. So we're going to start with the powder because I have the least amount of thoughts on the powder. Only con I have found with this powder, and that is definitely going to be a preferential thing for you, is that the powder does have a scent. So if you don't like makeup that's perfumed, you might not like this. Oh, and this powder does contain parabens, so if you do have a problem with parabens, I would steer clear. Pros for this powder is, number one, it's very affordable. It was like 100 shillings. Another pro for this powder is it's everywhere, literally everywhere you can find this powder. If you can't find the foundation, I know for a fact you can find this powder. Just walk outside and look. Anyone who's selling braids, Naivas, Tuskies, bound to come across this powder. Another thing I like about this powder is that it is decently pigmented. You can probably get away with wearing sunscreen and then just press this on your skin for like a very light coverage. And last thing I like about this powder, it feels very rough on the pan, but on the fingers it's very soft, and it's also my perfect skin shade. It really helps me combat the offness of this undertone. I feel like when it comes to Luron, the powders have the undertone correctly, but the foundations, the undertones are all the way off. I didn't use this little sponge, I never do, but I guess if you're outside and you're sweating, it would definitely come in handy. So that's it for the powder. Now we can get into this foundation, and I always do start with the cons and then wind down with the pros because I do like to leave things on a positive note. So let's start with the cons for this, and first things first, you guys, so right off the bat, this thing oxidizes like 5 to 6 shades darker than you. Like it goes all the way ham. Another con about this foundation is that the undertone is so off. You are either going to be too dark or you're going to be too pink. It's not going to be easy for the average person to find a shade that works with them. And even though you do find a shade that you match to, it will match you when you put it on your face, and then after a few minutes it becomes like 5 shades darker. It was very hard for me to find a foundation that could not only match me but that had the perfect undertone for me. I was literally going to leave this. I swatched it on my hand and then I walked around the store looking for things, and then when I looked at my hand again, I noticed that it had oxidized. So I was like, oh, okay, it oxidizes a lot, so maybe I can make this work. Another thing when it came to this foundation is there's a really small shade selection, which is very unfortunate. I noticed that they tried to put in a really dark shade, a really light shade, and then they tried to make the in-betweens be workable. I do commend them for that, but also at the same time the shade range is just really small. I feel like they're leaving out a lot of people who are not going to be able to work with their product. Another thing I did notice when it came to this foundation is it's not buildable. When I was doing this side of my face, when the foundation had dried, I did try to build it up because I do have a little discoloration around my mouth, and the second I pressed the blender back into blend, the foundation moved. I can't say that once this foundation sets in and dries you cannot build it up. Work as fast as you can, or maybe work in small small sections. Lastly, another reason why I decided to cut this video short is because I remembered when I tried to put setting spray on my face after I had done everything, the foundation was literally running off my face. That tells me that if I am to start sweating or something like that, the foundation is going to move. There were streaks and lines and dots and splotches of the makeup where the setting spray hits. Another thing, this foundation does have parabens, several parabens, and it does also contain silicones. With that being said, that brings me to the end of the cons for this foundation. Now we can get into the pros. And first things first, when it comes to this foundation, it is very comfortable. I do feel like I have makeup on, but I don't feel like I have caked face on. Another thing, it does also look really nice. It looks as good as some of the high-end, more expensive foundations. It does look very nice and it feels very nice on the skin. Another pro about this foundation is it's easily available, readily available, everywhere available. You can find this foundation everywhere. I didn't know Luron was Kenyan. That's also a pro for me, that the fact that this is actually a Kenyan brand. This brand has been around ever since before I knew what makeup was. For it to be Kenyan, I am feeling overly proud right now. So I'm really stoked that it's Kenyan, and also explains why it's everywhere. Another thing I love about this foundation is it's very inexpensive. For 150 shillings you get 15 millimeters. That's half of like a normal bottle of foundation. Like for instance, this too, a normal bottle of foundation is around 30 ml. I also really don't mind this applicator. It makes it easy to dot in the product. The only thing is I'm not sure about how hygienic that is, because you will remove it, dot on your face, and then put it back and then remove it and dot on your face. So that might be very unhygienic. So that's like a con, but at the same time I feel like it makes things easier. Also, I really like the packaging. It's like a nail polish bottle. It's really cool. Another thing I love about the foundation is that it's really easy to work with your hands. So if you don't like beauty blenders, or you don't have a beauty blender and you don't have a brush, you guys, so me using my hands and me using the blender, there was barely any difference. It's very good for people who are beginners in makeup. Just make sure your hands are clean though. Another thing I do like about this foundation, it does contain sunscreen, and even though it does contain sunscreen, I did take a picture with flash on. There was no flashback. I don't know if you know, but most foundations that have sunscreen, when you take pictures with flash, they do give you a white cast. You look like a ghost. So I do appreciate that it is protecting your skin. At the same time, it looks nice. The last pro, and I've already mentioned it, but I mentioned it in passing, but the coverage is very decent. I do have discoloration around my mouth still, despite my little small spots and the discoloration around my mouth. The coverage of this foundation is very decent, because looking at the monitor and looking at my screen right now, I can barely see it, and I really do like the fact that this foundation, being as inexpensive as it is, has decent coverage. Overall thoughts on this too for the foundation. Would I purchase this again? I don't think so, unless they change the formula and they add a shade range. My biggest pet peeve was the fact that if I can't set my face, then my face is gonna move. But I will try use it again and go outside and experience the elements and stuff, and if I have more thoughts on it, I will leave them down in the description box, so be sure to check that out. But this, I know I will purchase again, because I do actually like this powder, and I will continue to use it because it actually matches my skin so well, and it feels nice, and it has a bit of coverage, and it's very inexpensive. I would love to hear your thoughts on this and this down in the comment section. If you guys have used either of this or both of this simultaneously, let me know if my views are off. I did also do a video on this eye look, and it is in my Huda Cosmetics review, which I will leave a link over here so you guys can check that out. I did do 3 looks 1 palette. I feel like I will name it 3 looks 1 palette. I still haven't decided. That brings us to the end of this video. If you did like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It does really help my channel grow and get out there, and also subscribe to my channel if you do want to see more content from me. And also please don't forget to click on that little tiny notification bell, that way you can be notified anytime I upload a video. Thanks for watching, and see you in my next one. Bye.